Okay, how's everybody doing? It's time for another episode of Shop Talk. This is Chris and Ken's weekly report, 60 minutes of all the bullshit we can fit.
Mm-hmm.
And we're on
here
again. All right, then we can hear each other. I can hear you. You can hear me. There's no surprises.
Fantastic. I love that.
We want to thank my personal sponsor, Dunkin' Donuts, for getting me through another deadline, which I just finished yesterday morning. God.
How is that? I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it every month.
Dude, this was issue
It seems
number...
like it's every week, actually, but...
Oh, no kidding. Because of the cycle, you know, but this was issue number 252. And like
252. That's
insane.
Crazy.
It's
insane.
Bananas. So...
You know what I want to do before we get into the thick of things? There's a few things that I keep forgetting to do. So one is I'm going to share this to my page so I can remember to do that. The other thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that we let people know about our only sponsor at this point. We'll have another sponsor actually next week, but I don't want to give that away this week. But we've got kind of a continuous sponsor. It's J&P Cycles. And if everybody goes to forever2wheels.com or 4e2w.com, there's a little banner on the right-hand side there, J&P Cycles. If you click on that and you go and buy something, then we get a little kickback, a little taste. You know what I'm saying?
And that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be amazing, because then we would be losing money on every show.
Because listen, baby, I got to tell you something. The only thing that pays less than being a motorcycle publisher is having anything to do with motorcycle radio or whatever this broadcast
exactly.
is.
On the right. On the side. So that would be fantastic. The other thing that I want, I don't screw it up, but we have listeners from all over. I just thought I'd let you know that, Chris, because my on the podcast, which is the Forever Two Wheels podcast, which we also broadcast this on. There's usually a little delay, but we've had some really good success recently. And I want to kind of give a shout out to some of the places that people are listening from. So obviously the United States. The UK, they're number 2. Australia, number 3. Canada, Germany, France, Sweden, South Africa, Belgium, Korea, Poland, Brazil, Netherlands, Japan, Denmark, Ireland, Senegal,
right on,
Turkey, Costa Rica, Liechtenstein, and my one favorite my most favorite country.
Easy.
Kazakhstan.
You're kidding me right now, aren't you?
Kazakhstan. Yes.
No, but listen, man, it's really crazy, like the connectivity that we have today with all of this media. Like I get a phone call once a week from Kiwi Mike, and he tells me about his brother and his buddies who watch this show in New Zealand. So we want to give a shout out to Kiwi's brother in New Zealand too.
That's right. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. And it just goes to show that this chopper culture, this custom motorcycle culture, has no bounds when it comes to kind of. And you know, it's interesting. I had a quick conversation, which I'm going to recap, and people will actually be able to hear the whole interview with Roger Goldhammer, and he was talking about being in Canada and not having a lot of resources when he was just learning how to kind of fabricate and weld and do everything that he does. And so he said it's like a lot of kind of developing countries where they just figure out how to build stuff and how to make it.
Yep.
You know? And that's a lot of what happens throughout the world. And when you're like you and I, when, growing up, we didn't have a ton of money, or, getting into this thing, we didn't have a ton of money to go and spend. So you just figure stuff out and you just build it. Right. I mean, that's what happens. And I think that's the way a lot of bike builders that's the way it used to be. And I'm sure when we have Mondo on and, some of the other builders, that's what you'll hear is we did what we had to do. Right.
Well, and dude, let's talk about that just for a second, because as you were saying that, it reminded me of I just finished for this issue. I just finished a killer interview. For me personally, it was one of the most honored moments of my entire career doing this stuff. I got to interview Mondo, write an article about the 50-year celebration of Denver's Choppers, and like you were just saying, those guys back then, man, there was no catalogs, there was no blueprint, there was nothing except, hey, this could maybe look cool, and they were borrowing, some design cues and stuff from the hot rod stuff that was going on, and they pretty much invented choppers back then.
Well, and what's interesting is, one of the things that Roger said was, he said he'd see something in a magazine and go, oh, like that's pretty cool, but I think I can do that better.
Yeah.
Or I think I can make that in a different way that would maybe match my style or the way that I like to build things better. And then he would do that, and then he talked about it, putting 1,500 hours into a motorcycle.
Hey, listen, I can dig it. I can dig it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you looked at some of those bikes. Anyways.
When you want cool, though, really putting your own hands on something and putting that investment of time, it's the only thing that's really going to give you a one-of-a-kind unique motorcycle,
yeah, for sure.
In the end.
Yep, for sure. Speaking of one-of-a-kind unique motorcycles, Chris, I want to talk about the importance of knowing your motorcycle.
I want to hear you talk about the importance of knowing your motorcycle.
I called you up the other day, and I was like, dude, I want to talk about this in the air. I don't want to tell you what just happened to me. So there's a time, I think there's a time for all of us where it's like you just get on your bike and go, right? And then you kind of, you surpass that, right? That machine kind of becomes a part of you. And with this bike, Ryan Boyd, built it essentially. I was there for every step of the way, but he's definitely the builder credited for it. And so I went out to the garage. I'm like, man, it's 50 degrees. I gotta get out and ride, So I get out there, I kick it over, I don't know, 1,002 times. It finally starts up. A little ether, take the plugs out. It's just, yeah.
Pray.
You know the drill. Yeah, exactly. You know the drill. And I give it a couple reps of throttle. I'm sitting on. I'm like, I'm taking around the block first before I go and run around on it. And I'm like, there's a rattle. Like I know this bike, and that rattle is not a familiar rattle. Like I know all the little rattles. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure you've got that on your bikes too.
Oh yeah.
So I ride around the block, and I'm like, well, maybe it'll go away at speed, like one of those things. Like, yeah. Once I start getting going. So I go around the block, and I shut it down. I get back to my house, I shut it down, and I'm like, that is not the right noise, right? So I'm like, looking. Actually, I didn't shut it down. I left it running because I'm like, what the hell is it? Like I can hear it, when I hit the throttle, it's like, and I hear this kind of, rattle. And I look down and I start touching everything. I start touching the controls. I start touching, everything that's not moving, obviously. And what was it? Oh, it was the top motor mount. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing, to be trifled with. So I was like, that's going to have to be saved for another day because I'm not going out on my bike without a top motor mount. So I don't know if when we put it back together, forgot to tighten something down, or I tightened one down more than the other, or if I need a better spacer in there or something. But all three of them are loose. I've got
that bike shovel head based, right? Is that a
no?
shovel?
It's an Evo.
It's an Evo. Well, Evo, yeah. Still with the Evo, the spacing has a large part to do with the top motor mount, as I've found out over the years with shovels and Evos, and having that spacing so that you have contact with your motor mount to the actual motor mount plate, and everything is sitting together before you go to tighten it, so that you don't actually get any flexion when you're tightening that hardware. You want it to already be full contact.
Yep, and I think that was the problem. Like if I look at it now, there's probably a paper thin area between the bottom of the frame and where it bolts in, because it's a custom mount or whatever. So I'm assuming that's what it is. So I'm gonna have to go find something to take up that space. But it just brought me back to like, how important is it to know your bike? Like I know that bike, the first iteration, which you met me on at Bonneville. That bike like completely like combusted on the way out and back. I mean, I think by the time I got home, I was using a water bottle as a tail light. because I had no tail light. I just had like no lens,
The good old
anything.
days.
And my, anyways,
When we were just
on and on.
dirty old bikers without collared shirts and all this techno
I
crap.
know.
And
I know. I'm wearing this shirt just for lawn. I know
Right?
it's not really fancy enough, but
That's why I brought the shirt up, man.
yeah, I'm
So,
hoping.
for those of you,
I'm hoping you like it, lawn.
for those of you that didn't see last week, one of our buddies, it's the I guess he's like the brand manager for.
Oh no, he's got some. I want to
It's a
tell you.
really
what his
big
title.
title.
Oh no, yeah, I got to tell you what his title is because it's great for sure.
But he publicly busted Ken's balls on our feed post and told Ken that he had to get a shirt that was like mine. So for this show, we talked about it. I went down a little bit. I brought my shirt down a few notches. Ken brought his up. We're trying to even it out so that Lon is okay with the way Ken looks too.
Lon, who is the Director of Global Brand Alliance and Strategic Development for the Buffalo Chip Campground.
That's heavy shit right there. Like,
Global Brand Director.
I could never have that position because I could never remember the title. I'd be like,
a lot of letters. Anyways, good on you, Lon. We'd love to have you on some week.
absolutely. I think this is something we'd like to publicly invite you guys from the Buffalo Chip to come on, maybe a couple times leading up to Sturgis this year, and let us do some of your big fancy concert
leading up to
announcements.
Donnie Smith.
Yeah.
Leading up to Donnie Smith.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute because I actually just got off the phone with Neil a little bit earlier today, and the Donnie Smith show, man, right around the corner, going to be absolutely off the hook this year. Probably not the greatest thing to do the JMP logo right there with the Donnie Smith show, so let me adjust that.
Okie dokie.
But it's gonna be off the hook this year. The indoor flat track racing, absolutely killer. That flat tracking is coming back that area because it's got such strong history. The Donnie Smith show for that part of the country, man. I mean, there was one point in time that was like the Mecca. In the middle of the winter, there was nothing else going on. You had to hit the Donnie Smith show if you wanted to show off something cool that you had. And still to this day, I have to say, there's no other show quite like it because it has the exact right recipe, which is a combination of the three parts: a swap meet part, a bike show part, and an industry part that brings it all together in one spot for one weekend. And it's one of our favorite things to do every year.
Yeah, I've never made it there, so
You should absolutely
I gotta go
make
sometime.
plans. Absolutely make plans.
I got to get out there sometime. I've had every intention, but you know what that means.
Road to hell. So while we're talking about motorcycle events for a minute, let me bring this up because we do have a big announcement for Shop Talk. For the first time ever, we're going to be doing a live remote. We're scheduling our first one enough time ahead that we can actually get our technology behind it and know that we're going to do a good job. But the boss man himself, Mr. Willie T. Jones, has invited us to set up shop, to do Shop Talk live from Chopper Time during Willie's old school tattoo or bike show during Daytona.
That's going to be killer. That's going to be killer.
It'll be fantastic because during Daytona, man, that is where everybody goes. I can't even imagine the people we're going to get a chance to sit down and interview.
Yeah, that's going to be really fun. And I just wonder, logistically, like that day is just so crazy. It's so chaotic there and it's so loud. But I think it's going to be a blast, figuring out a place to do it and how we can do it so it's, makes sense and we have enough,
Absolutely.
Cat 5 wire that will take us, 500 feet so we can go all the way across the street to the Publix and get a ham sandwich and make sure we're still connected.
Oh, Jesus.
Or whatever.
So, hey, man.
No, there's so much cool stuff to see there. So, yeah, I'm stoked about that. That's going to be really fun. And I think it's going to be the first of many.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh, I'd love to do one at Donnie Smith's show.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Imagine that.
And we're gonna be interviewing Neil coming up here too, right before the Donnie Smith show. So maybe that's something we can bring up to him. I know that
That's great.
He's open for anything. Neil's great to work with. So while we have this this moment to talk about the fact that we are on Facebook Live, I'm gonna put this up so you guys know we do take comments. We're watching over here on the Facebook Live machine. I see that Billy Grotto's asking if we'll talk about. What did he say? Adjusting a foot clutch on a V-twin. I'm assuming that Billy's trying to go for a ride today and doesn't know his motorcycle as well as you also can. So Ditch is on with us. Jim Cook is watching. Let's see. Mitch Bodine's here with us. What's up, Magoo? Joe Sadowski. Yeah, so we're looking, man. Put your comments up there if you have some questions throughout the show, either for us or for our guest coming up, Mr. Jay Allen. We'll be happy to try to get to them and answer them as quickly as possible. And that's what I have to say about Facebook.
Nice. Yeah. It looks like we've got a nice little group of people. I'm wondering where we're going with the news. We've got some fun stuff. We've got some futuristic stuff.
Yeah, I don't have any batshit crazy news today.
Yeah, we got some kooky stuff. I did see that one of the mainstream motorcycle outlets picked that up, your batshit crazy news from last week.
Did they really?
Yeah, I can't remember who it was. It was like MPN or Powersports Business or something, yeah.
Right on. That's great.
I thought that was fun.
Well, let's start off with something that we skipped over from last week, and that's the women's motorcycle show over at Moto Lady.
Yes, it's going to be at Lucky Wheels Garage this weekend. Sounds like, I've never actually been to it, but it sounds like a great kind of gathering of people. That's in LA, and I know Robert Pandya, our buddy, is going to be doing an industry talk kind of the night before on the 11th. And I'm not sure exactly what it's going to be about, but I think it's about trying to kind of propel the motorcycle industry forward, solutions, that sort of thing. And then the moto industry, or the Moto Women, is that what it's called? The Moto Women Show? Women's Moto Show. Women's Moto Show. Yeah. Women's Moto Show is going to be that weekend. Then they have a big party and that sort of stuff. So I assume it's art and motorcycles, and I think Jesse Coombs is going to be there. I'm not sure who else is going to be there, but it sounds like it's going to be a good time for sure. So if you're out there, make sure you make your way that way.
And you know what I love, the stuff about like the girls that you're mentioning here, like the Moto Lady and Jesse Coombs. I mean, they're doing stuff for the sake of what they do with motorcycles. You know what I mean? Jesse Coombs is as much a gearhead as almost any guys I've ever met. And I'm so glad to see some girls like really representing the women's motorcycle movement that aren't just like lipstick bike bandits. You know what I mean? Like, because that whole thing of, hey, pay attention to us because we're women on motorcycling for the sake that we're girls on bikes, I'm thoroughly over with that. I think the industry pretty much is. There's even reports now that, basically the millennial marketing effort is trying to tell people, hey, look, millennials could care less about, gender specific anything. So, just stick to them as people. And, when it comes to seeing stuff like this, I give them all the kudos because they really just rock this stuff for the sake of what they're doing. And it's pretty badass. Yeah.
As well as, I just saw that Crystal Hess is on with us. I think she's headed that way for the women's moto exhibit. So, maybe she can give us a little bit of a report next week, let us know what's going on with it.
And
that'd be pretty cool.
Talk about somebody who is really, really busting her ass for a movement with her motorcycle missions. I would absolutely love to have her on, Crystal. Get a hold of us so we can get you on for an interview about the work that you're doing, because you guys are really kicking it. I know Xavier put a really nice column together this month that talks about motorcycle missions and everything that they're doing.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Who else have we got on here? It looks like we got a bunch of people. Mitch is on, Bodine, George.
Anthony Cantrella in Daytona Beach, Florida, baby. We're on our way pretty soon. Before you even know it, we're going to be in sunny Florida for getting all this snow bullshit.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for winter here. I mean, we've got a little bit of snow on the ground, but I could ride today if my motor mount wasn't jacked.
Okay, I'm done with you. Let's get back to the news. Forget it. So listen, a kind of a sad thing to say, Bruce Tesmer is leaving S&S, man.
Yeah, gone. He's gone, man. He's gone first of the year.
so torn by this because Bruce has been such a good friend to the magazine. And not only that, I mean, he's a musician. He's, one of our fellow soul searchers for all things cool motorcycles and music. And we're really, really going to miss Bruce. I think it's a large part of the industry is going to find a hole where Bruce used to occupy that space.
He is the one constant at SNS, like he has been there so long, and he's seen it all, and I just remember, I did a little stint at SNS probably 2 or 3 years ago. And he was the one guy that I always knew I could go to, and he would have the answer to whatever it was. Or if I was like, hey, is this right? Da, da, da. He'd be like, well, da, 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 and he always had the answer. So yeah, he's a wealth of knowledge that is definitely going to be missed. And I'm sure they've got somebody, coming in to kind of fill his shoes on the, videography, et cetera, kind of tech side.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of very talented people there, that know their stuff inside and out. But yeah, he will be missed for sure. The history,
check this out though, on their own site. I see something I didn't know about Bruce. He actually received a degree in broadcasting from the University of Wisconsin, 1973, yet never worked in the broadcast industry.
Oh wow! It explains why his videos are so good.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. He actually knew what he was doing.
Well, there's
Unlike
one.
us.
There's one.
Yeah, there's one guy who knows what he's doing.
Oh Jesus! Yeah, so,
I actually have a cousin who is a professional newscaster in Nashville, Chris Conti. I don't know what station he's on, but I can only imagine him watching this and just like cringing because he is every bit of a professional, and we are not.
Dude, I have to give a shout out real quick because I just looked at my Facebook monitor and Ray is on. Ray, brother, I love you.
What's up?
I miss you. He's busy out in California raising beautiful children. And I got the pleasure of visiting his home, and that part of the country, like up in Northern California, is just amazing. But what's up, brother? Glad to see you here.
Nice. Let's talk about some droids.
There you go.
Let's talk about some droids, man. This whole thing just freaks me out. I just don't know what to think, man.
Yamaha's motor droid. You tell me. Where do we start?
I don't know, man. I mean, it got announced or unveiled at the Consumer Electronics Show, right? CES in Las Vegas, I believe. And it's basically a motorcycle that has artificial intelligence, can learn tracks, and supposedly they were going to put that droid out on a track with Rossi.
Wow.
And see or they weren't going to put him out at the same time. They were going to compare lap times and see how it went. And I would just be so interested to know kind of how that goes. I mean, it's one thing to learn one place like that if you're at a track or whatever, but it's another thing to like get out in the world. And I think they actually had a couple different droids that they were talking about, and one is like a self-riding motorcycle that doesn't have that you get on, like a Tesla or whatever, that will do it all for you. But what's the point?
Well, really? I can think of something right away, like that 2:30 last call at the Iron Horse in Daytona. You have your motorcycle get you home, because let's face it, at some of these events, there's been artificial intelligence on top of a motorcycle for quite some time. That's not what they called it, but I'm willing to concede that fact.
I don't think that's called artificial intelligence. I think it's called inebriated intelligence.
Oh, you know the guy I'm talking about, right? Rev limiter guy. He always comes with do it again guy. Yeah. Yep.
The guys that I like, especially when I'm, where the hell was I? I think it was Daytona. They were doing burnouts in the sand.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then just like burying their rear tire in the sand and then watching them, at 2 a.m. or whatever, trying to unfuck their bike. Yeah, it was beautiful.
So, I mean, I don't know, man. Like this will be great for a lot of reasons, developing tracks, developing motorcycles, developing racers, training racers. But, in the back of my head, I got a little Orwellian thing going on that says,
Sure.
boy, we're heading towards the times of Terminator real quick here until one day the machines are going to turn around and say, you know what? You fuckers are too dumb to even be in our world anymore.
Sure.
You know?
Yep. I hear you.
I don't know.
I'm not quite that paranoid, Chris, but
that's it. Put it all on me, you prick.
No, I can see the benefit just from a safety perspective. I think that there is a lot of human error out there. A lot of people not paying attention. A lot of people looking at their phone, doing whatever, and it's like, man, I'm all about more safety not standards necessarily, but being able to be safer on a.
Speaking of not paying attention, I've put the artwork up for the next segment before we even got to it. So let's start.
Okay.
Let's talk about Meekum. The Meekum auction's right around the corner.
Sure.
Coming at you fast for those bazillionaires that are watching our program right now, wondering how you're going to get rid of those extra dozen vintage motorcycles that you have. There's an opportunity coming up.
Well, and something, that kind of goes along with that is a company that I started working with called MotoOct. They're a vintage motorcycle auction site. It's online only. Don't really compete with Meekum because it's basically an online only situation. But there's some great bikes up there right now. There's a really badass Norton Atlas that's up. And they just, it's basically, as long as it's vintage and you've got great photography, they're all about getting it up and getting it out there to their community. So anybody that's got a bike and they want to try it out right now, I believe they're doing free listings. So that's not always going to be that way, but right now they've got free listings going on. So get over there and get something posted up. I heard you might even list a bike up there.
I actually have a couple that are going to go up, and not because I want to get rid of motorcycles, because I am vehemently opposed to selling motorcycles, but I'm literally out of space, and I got to make room for some new projects. I got invited to the Lichter show this year. We have a new bike coming out for Twisted Tea, and there's just no room in the garage anymore.
So what are you getting rid of?
I'm gonna put.
I know Bored to Death's one of them, right? I'm
gonna put Bored to Death up, and it's killing me. It's killing me to say that because it's my 1974 Ironhead that I made into a hand shift board tracker, and it's a fantastic bike. But the truth is, of all of them, what am I gonna? I'm gonna give up the 49 Panhead? No, So it's the lowest on the list.
Yeah, low hanging fruit. Understood.
So, also coming up pretty quick, let's talk about this real quick because it's something that we've been waiting for here at the magazine. Our guys up in Milwaukee at it again. Ronster is putting on the ice races in Milwaukee. The high voltage races are coming up this weekend. Proceeds benefit pancreatic cancer research. Looks like it's going to be a blast. I mean, anybody that was at that first year that they did the ice riding with Mama Tried, this is going to be an actual ice race. House of Harley, a bunch of people up there got behind it, and they're really giving them some resources. And it sounds like this may be the first of an absolute dynasty that goes on for ice racing coming back to Milwaukee. So get on, check that out. You can hit them up. There's an event on Facebook where you can find out more information about it. But they propose to have, from what I understand, it's going to be an absolutely true, real race venue where they have an elevated VIP that's heated and everything indoors to watch the track from. There's going to be pit passes for people that want to be down on the ice. It's going to be actually an AMA sanctioned race, and pretty badass to see something like that come out of when we first went to that thing with Mama Tried, it was just some guys that were riding out on the ice, and then it started to get a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger, and it's really great to see this effort taking off. So Ronster, man, we're all behind you, and good luck with that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's good stuff. I know we've got ice racing out here, and it's up in the high country, right off I-70 near Georgetown. They've got a little ice racing oval they use up there.
So, real quick,
Have you ever gotten out on the ice?
I
on a
haven't.
motorcycle?
I was just mentioning this on Open Road Radio last week that's one of the two forms of racing that I haven't done on a motorcycle. Okay. I've been, throughout my life, I've tried to set up opportunities where I could say, okay, well, at whatever level, I've done flat track racing, I've done motocross, I've done cross country, I've done drag racing. So it's down to now if I get ice racing and I get speedway racing. I've done pretty much, other than trials, because trials there's no way I'm ever going to do trials.
A lot of skills.
I'm too fat and I'm too old. It's not going to happen. So
it'd be fun to watch, though.
It would be very trying. So listen, real quick, let's hit this last piece of news before we go to our guest. This is kind of a neat thing, man. Like, I'm not always down for government initiatives that come out about motorcycling, but there's actually a proposed law on the books right now that would have all hospitals have motorcycle paramedic units. House Bill 6739, spearheaded by Representative Velarde Jr., and the House Committee on Health mandates all hospitals need to provide paramedics on motorcycles to become frontline first responders in any medical emergency. Makes sense. I think it's pretty cool. It'd be nice to see, the government get involved with a motorcycle initiative again, like it used to be. Everybody had a police attachment. Everybody had people on motorcycles for this very reason. It's easier to get through the crowd. It's quicker to get somewhere.
For sure. Yep. That makes sense. Yeah, it's funny that you should mention that because I was talking to Wolfman, the guy over at Wolfman Luggage. Of course, I can't remember his name right now. And he was actually talking about that exact same thing, that they were talking about, having paramedics on motorcycles. And he actually ended up getting certified because he had a pretty horrific motorcycle accident out on a kind of a double track 4-wheel drive road that was really difficult for people to get to. So, and he was kind of off in the middle of nowhere. So he kind of took it upon himself. So, which is cool stuff.
We have Margaret in on Facebook that said in New York, Margaret, what's up? That's our friends from Motorcycle Mayhem Radio. We got to get you on this show. She's such a trip, dude. I love everybody from Motorcycle Mayhem Radio. Good people. But she said, especially in New York City, that'd be a great idea. And that's the exact kind of thing. New York, Chicago, L.A., places where motorcycles could take advantage of the outside lane and get to somewhere fast.
Sure. Riding up on the sidewalk like Bobby.
So Mitch on Facebook also said road racing ? And yes, I've done road racing. And no, it wasn't pretty either. But I've done it. I checked that off the list.
Yeah.
So I think it should be about time that we could get to our first guest here, our guest today, right?
Sure.
Hardly needs any introduction.
Come on, give him an intro.
Well, let's start out with trying to get him on the phone and see how that goes.
Okay.
Hey.
Jay Allen, how you doing, man? You're on the air with Chris and Ken.
I'm doing well.
So
Hey, man.
I was just about to say how, you hardly need an introduction, and we got you on real quick. So I'm going to let people know some of the stuff that I know about you, because to me, Jay is now and will forever be an example of purely passion-driven motorcycle enthusiast. My man is at it 24/7, and just an amazing story that I've got to be a little bit of a part of through the years.
Well, I'm honored.
So one of the biggest reasons we're starting off here today to have this conversation with you is for how many years have you been doing land speed racing?
15 years.
15 years. And in those 15 years, there was a stretch of about 6 or 7 years that I was at Bonneville every year, and I got to spend some time at the pits with Jay and watch him working with guys like Wink Eller and his crew chief and leader. What was Jeff?
Hell, you got to ride my bike.
Oh, I even got to ride his motorcycle once. And they were pretty happy about that too, because it was sort of an unofficial behind the pits ride.
It was unofficial.
But I've got to see, like, land speed racing is such a unique and special thing, and I've watched through Jay's experience how he is just incrementally, he's walked up the miles per hour and a record here and a record there and set a new standard and a new record and got a little bit faster, but always, you know, in the back of your mind, you got to be thinking about that 200-mile-an-hour hat that everybody that goes to Bonneville with any kind of sincerity in their program wants to get.
True story. Absolutely.
And this year, not only did you cross that barrier at Bonneville, but you actually got the hat at El Mirage shortly after, right?
Yeah, and what a surprise it was. You know, it's funny, I guess because you're running a certain speed, and I was always not quite getting that 200. When it finally happened, I couldn't believe it was true. I mean, I asked the guy to repeat it 3 times, and then I said, if you're lying to me, dude, I'm going to make you miserable. Because I swear to God, dude, that's what I heard on the radio. Could you call and reconfirm it? And yeah, it was isn't it funny how in our lives little things are big? And for me, you know, that quest has gone on for so long that when it happened, I couldn't believe it was true.
And, you know, man, like you said, too, like you say this little thing, but, you know, take a man like Wink Eller that a lot of people will be really familiar with. And Wink has been trying, you know, effectively his whole life to cross that barrier and get that hat.
And you know, and Wink was one of my mentors. And when I got that 200, one of the first texts I got was Wink Eller. You know, and he calls me like buddy boy or buddy. Congratulations, buddy, you did it. You went over 200. You know, and that meant a lot to me. You know, guys like Chris Rivas and Wink Eller, big influences on me.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know if this is even going to be possible, but why don't you take our listeners through what it's like to do a pass, let's say a Bonneville, because you have, what do you have there, 12 miles to make a pass at Bonneville?
Oh, man, you know what? It depends. If you've got a really tall geared bike, you can take the long course, and providing you can go over 175 miles an hour, you'll get the long course sticker. So you can choose a long course or a short course depending on your bike, how it's geared, and you know where it peaks out at. So for me, with this monstrous motor pushing out close to 300 horsepower, I chose the short course, which is a 2-mile run-up. So for 2 miles, you are getting to business, and when you enter that mile, they measure you for a mile. And then you've got several miles shut down, but it takes me a little over a mile to get off the course safely. And as you get up close to the line, heart rate starts picking up. Everything starts going into slow motion. You start running it through your head over and over. Don't miss the shift point. You know, I have a 6-speed transmission, and you literally have to scream in your head, you know, 1, 2, 3, because you don't want to miss a gear and be in 5th and think you're in 6th. And then again, the people that are helping you, you know, they make sure you're facilitated in every way so that when you go up to that line, you're totally prepared. And when you look at that starter, and I'm watching their face, I'm looking at their eyes, and when I see that information coming through their headpiece, and I watch their eyes engage, like they're listening to information, I know it's time. And I got to tell you, I am just so jacked. And that's never worn off. I'm as excited as the first time I ever rode that old Indian Chief, Chris. And then it's get down to work. It's your elbows in, legs in, body angle, you know, knowing the course, knowing where the soft spots are, the hard spots, stay out of the middle, and hitting those shift points and just flying.
Well, you know, and that's something to bring up here real quick, too, because, you know, I know just like before I had been to Bonneville and spent time there, I had no idea what it was really like. This is so much more than just getting out on a surface and you know, opening the throttle wide up and going as fast as you can. There's so many variables at play here. The tire spin, the density of the surface, the wind direction, the amount of wind, you know, there's
moisture.
It's a complete science. It really is.
Yeah.
You just said, and more. You know, they call Bonneville the Great White Dino. And it truly is, because when you meet first-timers out there that really are mechanically and motorcycle knowledge-wise, they're there, but they've never ridden the Great White Dino. And so basically they're basing everything they know off of dynos, and it's just a whole different reality. And, you know, this year some amazing characters like, you know, Al Lamb and Ralph Hudson and Akatak, they all went to Bolivia. And the reason they went there is because they said there is a course that is endless. It's solid salt, and it's like concrete. There's no softness. There's no imperfections. They're at 12,000 feet. So the air density, I mean, outside of barely being able to breathe, you know, you can cut the air so much easier. And their quest is to hit a 300 on a motorcycle, and Akatak was hoping to hit 400. And, you know, Al was talking about, Jay, you should consider coming down and going there. And, you know, it hit me, guys, that I like Bonneville because you have to beat Bonneville.
Right.
It's humbling. And every year it's got a different soul. It's this different salt density. It's constantly changing, like our everyday lives. And I know everybody out there relates to that. There's patterns, but it's never the same. And that's the way Bonneville is. And you know what? I'm not going to Bolivia. I'm going to stick with Bonneville because it's an amazing challenge. And don't get me wrong. I know Bolivia is an amazing challenge for them, but I'm not looking for perfect conditions. I'm looking to beat the conditions that aren't perfect and prevail.
Mm-hmm. Right on.
Nice. I'm good. I thought you were saying that I wasn't on. Well, one of the things that I was interested in, Jay, is talking about that first time you got out at Bonneville. What was the bike you were riding? What was your intention on going out there? How did you get out there? I mean, was there somebody kind of mentoring you at that point?
That's a great question. And it's a fun answer, too, because for 10 years, I had a 46 Indian Chief that was built to go to Bonneville. And for 10 years, I put that bike in the bar in Laconia behind the bar. I hung it from the trees in Daytona. And here's this little Indian just waiting for a chance to go out and set motorcycle history. And I got to tell you guys, I don't even know how many records we set. When I say we, Dave Iverson, the founder of the Broken Spoke, and myself, 15 years ago, I told him, and this guy's an amazing wrench on Indians. I said, Dave, look me in the eye and shake my hand. And he goes, what? For what? And I says, let's get the Indian down and let's go to Bonneville. And guys, that's where it started.
Right. By the
way, to this day, Dave is racing. He's never stopped. Jill, his girl, is racing.
Oh, that's fantastic.
She's the SETA, and the saga continues. And it started with a 46 Chief.
Awesome. I think of all the memories because I actually put up pictures while you're talking, Jay, of the Indian and of you and Dave working on the bike. But I think one of my favorite memories of those times, and it's a bittersweet memory. I'm putting the picture up right now of Samantha Morgan and the year that she got to go to Bonneville, and you made that happen. You helped complete the part of the dreams of this woman's life, and for all of us too, it was a moment that we got to watch history happen.
It was cool.
Hey guys, Chris, for me, that was, when you look back on your life and you say, what are some of the good things that you're really proud about? I got to tell you, I'm so glad that happened. And Samantha, Indian Larry, and I would meet Samantha at the wall every morning in Sturgis at 8 o'clock. So she'd teach us to ride the wall. And it was my way of reciprocating to a rush freak that could do anything on the wall that was looking for a challenge. And I was short on money, and she called me about going out on the industry. She goes, you're serious, right? But the way she said it, I thought, I don't care if it was short on money. I got to dig it up. I got to get this girl a plane ticket. I got to get her out here. And as it worked out, it was the most, talk about a story. It's something I could see him doing a film after, like they did on Burt Monroe. But this little Wall of Death rider comes out, gets on my motorcycle, and for the first time breaks my record.
Oh, I know. It was so
Oh,
great.
yeah. I watched Samantha Morgan break my record on my bike. And then a guy comes up and he goes, hey, you got that Wall of Death rider here, right? And I go, yeah, it's Fritz. And he says, I'm looking for a sidecar rider. And I go, well, there she is. Go ask her. They acted like I owned her or something. Like, can I borrow her? Go talk to her.
Yeah.
And she's over there practicing shifts with Fritz. Boom, record number 2. Fritz and her get a record. Yep. And then a guy comes over with a Scout. And again, Samantha Morgan, record number 3. This lady stepped foot on the salt one time in her life and walked off the salt with 3 land speed records.
And that is
so cool.
Unheard of. That is unheard of. It was like it was truly like divine intervention. That somebody had reached down and made something like that possible because the unfortunate thing was she wasn't with us that much longer after that.
No. And I look at the imagery and guys, here's the part. If you were doing a film, you get giddy watching it. She shows up with a flat tracking race leather set of leathers from a guy that's probably 190-pound guy. She's a skinny little shit, right? And I had to take, thank God I work out with weights. I had to take the front of that suit and fold it in half, and then while I held it, somebody taped her up. because one wrinkle's 3 miles an hour on your back.
God, I wish I had pictures of that.
We tape her up tight, and so the pictures. I don't know if you have any of those pictures with the duct tape around her waist, Chris, but that says it all.
It was, Ken, honest to God, it was one of the most hokey looking things. Like, if you didn't understand anything about racing, it was like, wow, look, this little girl borrowed her big brother's race suit. You know, but just like Jay said, one wrinkle will cost you 3 miles an hour. You know what I mean? So it was absolutely a purpose to what they were doing. But man, I'll tell you what, like, just such special times. And you know, we're making plans to go back to Bonneville this year. But if you've never been to the motorcycle speed trials, and it's a different thing. Like, the motorcycle speed trials for me are a completely different thing, because you don't have all the international hoopla of people running the crazy jet cars and all that stuff. It's just motorcycle people. You know what I mean? And like, you'll see everybody from the community, like anybody who ever has proven anything as far as performance or horsepower, or tested their salt. It happens in Bonneville.
For sure.
Hey guys, I'm sitting in the hot tub in Wendover, and I look at this guy in the hot tub and I go, "Are you a land speed racer?" And he goes, it was really cool. You just had to see the expression on his face. He goes, "Well, I am now." And I go, "Well, what does that mean?" And he said, "Well, my father saw the movie The World's Fastest Indian with Anthony Hopkins, and it affected him so much that he literally went out and bought an old Norton, and said, 'I'm going to learn this motorcycle. I'm taking it to Bonneville, and I'm going to try and set a land speed record.'" And his father passed away before he completed his goal.
Oh my God!
So this son said, "I am going to fulfill my father's dream, and I'm going to learn about that Norton. I'm going to take it to Bonneville for Dad, and I'm going to try and set a record." The whole family came from all over the world. I met them all eventually in the hot tub, having beers and just talking racing. And they went out, you guys, and set a body on and a body off land speed record. And I can't tell you what an amazing story it was to watch this family come together on behalf of the father that had passed. It was just one of those giddy, feel good things that it was too good to be true. And to see them prevail like they did, it was one of those happy ending movies, man. It was awesome.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Man, that's the story. Like, almost every year, Ken, there's a story that you can tell like that from spending time at Bonneville. I went one year, and there was an old boy from Tyler, Texas. I had been walking through the pits, and I'd looking for bikes to shoot and people to interview, and there's this old guy sitting on a pickup truck by himself with a little old Triumph, and he had a hat on that said "Old Guys Rule." And he just had this look in his face like, he just as soon tell you to kiss his ass as anything else. And I'm like, there's got to be some kind of story here. So I walked over to talk to him. And sure enough, this old boy had at one time held a championship plate in flat track racing. He ran a shop in Tyler, Texas forever. And he had a stroke. And he gave up everything, promised his wife that, he'd never motorcycle race again. And she was helping him out through his recovery, and she bought him the movie The World's Fastest Indian. And he watched that video, and before long he was making plans to make it to Bonneville. And I'm like, oh boy. He goes, "It's good though." He said, "I never broke my promise to her." He said, "This isn't actually racing. This is just time trials."
Oh my God!
But that's it's a very special thing that goes on out there. Everything right down to. Jay, you can tell stories about like Santa Claus. There's a man that we're all friends with, Santa Claus, and the stuff that he's done with the community, with the legends of Bonneville, and even down to his Lucky Charms.
Oh, absolutely. And he's trying to help get the museum in Bonneville. I mean, he wants to see that before he dies. That is his goal. And this is a guy that when he saw the lust in someone's eyes to get on a bike, he made that happen. And, he's a giver, not a taker. And, Santa Claus, God bless that man, because I love him. He has been going to Bonneville forever, and he makes it accessible to anyone that has the passion to try it.
Oh, my God, I know. How many people do you think in the time that – and he owned a thing called Buell Brothers Racing. And how many people do you think he was responsible for over the years of giving them their first ride – on the Bonneville Salt Flats?
Several every event, and I know they'll never forget it. And man, he's just what a special man for that. Everyone's so focused, including me, on performing. And you're so busy in making it happen with working on the bike, getting in line, looking at the conditions. But it's nice that somebody takes the time to look around, and the people that they meet, they help them out. and they hook them up, and it's Santa's the man.
Mm-hmm.
So Jay, I've had pictures up of your Indian Bonneville bike. I've
Nice.
had pictures up of the Dyna before the fairing and stuff, of the Pro Street, the fully faired bike, and I'm putting up a picture right now of what I'm assuming is your most recent. Well,
the FXR, my orange FXR has been as magical as the Indian. I got to tell you, I don't even know how. I've set 37 land speed records, but I know that FXR is just set a bulk of them. And for all you out there, if you wonder why people ride FXRs, they are truly a special motorcycle. And I fully intend. I mean, we're redoing the motor in that right now. We're bringing that back out, but that FXR is something special as well.
So this thing that you sent me, the last picture that you sent me, is this blue and black motorcycle. What is underneath that body? Tell me what's going on there.
Chris Rivas built that bike, and but he had a bigger motor in it. He had a 143T from S&S with a turbo, and so mine is a 117 with a turbo. But that was Chris's bike. We just put a smaller motor in it because I ran in the 2000 class. He was in the 3000 class, of which year before last, guys. Hiro Kiyoso, amazing, legendary racer, motor builder. This guy is a samurai crazy badass. Yeah. And he built a bike that was badder than Chris's. He and Chris go out head to head, gyms against S&S. And 244 mile an hour passes, guys. Chris is ahead of Hiro by 0.083 of 1 mile an hour.
This is such a great story.
Hiro has to make the pass. He has to make the crazy pass to surpass that. And he crashes at 200 miles an hour.
Yep.
What?
Oh, my God. We were so scared. We thought for sure he was dead. And I talked to this Swedish guy, and it was Jay. He was up in the air like Christ. I saw him 20 feet in the air with his arms like a cross. And then come to find out he just broke his hands.
Whoa.
So the guy, it takes him 4 months to heal. And the bike he built this year, Chris, is just sick. Can it blow your mind? It's over 300 horsepower. I mean, I was the fastest bike out there for a while, bike, till Hiro comes along and just 229 miles an hour on a motorcycle without a body.
What?
Hiro Kiyoso. You guys got to check that man out. He is amazing.
I've actually had the pleasure of meeting him at Bonneville and watching his story through the years, man. He is really amazing. Like Jay said, he's just absolute samurai badass, you know.
Oh, but he's got an infectious smile. When he smiles, it just makes you want to smile. He's so happy. It's
So listen, let's talk for a minute about Bonneville, because you did break the 200 mile an hour barrier this year officially, but you didn't actually get the hat from Bonneville. You got it at El Mirage after.
Correct. I actually, at the Bonneville speed trials, was my fastest. I ran 224.178.
Jesus.
And I got what they call a 201 plus hat. And I guess that's because there's two different entities, and that's the AMA, and they don't have a lot of love for the SCTA, anyway. So I didn't get the red hat because that was not an SCTA event, but I got the 201 plus hat. And then at El Mirage, I ran a 209 on a 192. Wow. Now that's in a mile and a third. That's like a drag race on a dry lake bed, and that goes way back into the early 1900s, as well as Bonneville goes back to 1914. You guys.
Wow.
Anyway, that's how I haven't got the red hat for Bonneville yet.
Well, man, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna start my pilgrimages back this year. We're finishing up a bike we're calling War Pony.
Good man.
And listen, I gotta give you all the credit in the world, because you are responsible for so much of what I do, including my desire to be at Bonneville every year. And you've given me such a gift in that, because I've met the best people. I've watched people come onto the Salt like Jody Pierwitz and Roger Goldhammer, and I've seen these amazing stories, and that's because you planted that seed in my head. You know,
sure.
So,
well, that makes me feel like a real success, because that's a hell of a compliment. Thank you. I'm honored.
And for anybody who's listening might not know their motorcycle history and know, Jay's involvement with the Broken Spoke, and, building it literally from one man's dream in Sturgis to what the Broken Spoke became over the years. Jay was responsible for giving all of us a home across the country. Like, the Broken Spokes became the place where you could always go no matter what bullshit was going on at the rally. You could show up at the Broken Spoke and know that you had a spot to feel like home, and that was because of this man.
Yeah, it was a home, not a business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, J-Man, where can people go to find out more about what's going on with you with J. Allen Racing, and to keep track on your progress with Bonneville this year, other than me shooting my mouth off about it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll get on my web guy. I'd say go to officialjallen.com, and I'll get off my butt and go get that thing updated. Got a lot of stuff going on. Bikes are torn apart right now, Chris. We're doing brand new stainless steel exhaust form, FXR, new motors coming together. I'm hoping to hit over 180 on that on a raw bike. And again, the Dynas are going to be coming out. I want to go over 200 miles an hour on a raw bike Dyna in a 2000 class. And then I'll tell you, the bike that ran 224, guys, I did that at 9 pounds of boost. You can hit 15 pounds of boost. So I'm looking at 230s or 240s, and I say that humbly, just based on what based on what the turbo output was and the way the motor was running. So, man, there's again, as long as you can always go faster. There's work to be done, and then it's time to get out there, be prepared, and hopefully make it happen.
Right on, man. Well, I hope that we're
Can't
there.
wait to see it.
Hope that we're there, whether it's this year or whatever year to follow. I hope that we're there, man, because I
hope you are too.
It breaks my heart when I see these big things happen in Bonneville, El Mirage, and we're not present. But I'm so proud of what you're doing, dude.
Well, and let me reciprocate. You've complimented me here, but I know you were making it every year. And I mean, I watched you rolling on your motorcycle like a dead man coming from the other side of the country because you said, I'll be there. And you did it. And I know you missed it as much as we missed being there.
Oh.
But I mean that sincerely. And for all you Cycle Source fans out there, that's how he keeps his magazine real is he goes out and he sees it and he's experienced it. He's not reading any notes or anything. He was there. He lives it. And that's why everyone loves your magazine so much. And I know that's why you can't be there every year. You got a lot to do and a lot to cover.
Oh, but you know what? It's a big compliment for you. But I feel like I'm lucky to even do this gig. So I got to be there. I got to.
Yeah. Well, be careful what you wish for. It's one of those miserable curses that are just outright infectious. I know it's weird, but you've done a great job with it, and I admire you. I mean, all those years, every month at a time, you are a madman.
Well, man, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Well, listen, we're gonna keep track of you, and hopefully have you on the show with us again right after you get that red hat in Bonneville this year.
Oh, I'd be honored. And Ken, all the best to you, brother, too.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Jay. Thanks, man.
Shiny side up. Take care.
All right. See you back.
He is absolutely the best, dude. When Cycle Source was just getting to the national newsstands, Jay Allen gave me one of my most valuable pieces of advice. And I won't cheapen the experience with saying the name of the magazine that was there doing an event, but he took me out it was in the Broken Spoke in New Hampshire, and he took me off to the side of this great big stage that they had, and they had this big production going on. He said, hey, I see you doing a lot more now. He said, you're on the national newsstands, and I'm gonna give you some advice. He said, now remember, this is just Jay Allen. I just own some motorcycle bars. He said, so take this for what it's worth. And he looked at me dead serious. He said, don't do what these motherfuckers did. And he pointed at the other magazine. I was like, okay. And he goes, don't ever forget that you work for your readers. He said, people like me are going to come at you with advertising money and opportunities and all this other bullshit. He said, but don't forget that there's guys out there every month that are laying down their money that they work hard for to find out what it is that you have for them. He said, don't ever betray that relationship.
For sure.
And I think about that all the time, man. It was seriously like one of the best pieces of advice ever. And Jay's just been such a good friend over the years. It was great to have him on today and catch up with him.
Yeah, definitely. I've got this picture right here, actually, of my first time at Bonneville.
Right on.
That's me on the salt in the middle of a salt storm.
Oh,
it was just like a total whiteout. My friend Kurt Lout took that picture. He was riding next to me, and somehow he got that picture. I'm sure it destroyed his camera because it's just like, when that salt storm starts, it's just a freaking disaster. It just gets into every little crevice everywhere. So
yeah, we've been there. We've been there together a couple times when that kicks up, man. You can see it coming for miles, and there's no way to run from it.
First time we ever met was at the Salt.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's exciting stuff.
Well, couple things that I want to touch on real quick, if I can, before we wrap this week's show up. Kat that I got to give some credit to. You know, we're always looking for new motorcycle media that's coming out, and there's a guy that I met a bunch of times through the years over on the road and stuff, and hooked up with a bunch of his buddies out in the Fort Worth area, and got onto the idea that he's come up with to do this podcast called Talk Shop. And I'm partially telling you this because I forgot totally what the name of his show was, and when I came up with the brand
Wait a
for our
minute,
thing,
it's not called Talk Shop.
it's called Talk Shop. It is. It's
here.
Danger Dan's Talk Shop, and it's a really cool program that he does. It's way laid back. Like, he'll sit down with guys that own, you know, some of these little aftermarket chopper shops, and, you know, Show Class magazine, and, you know, it's super, super raw, and I dig the hell out of what he's doing. So I want to send him some props out. But if you see up in the corner of this thing, let me see if I can bring it up a little bit. This is a really, really cool idea of something new that he's starting, and it's called Motorcycle Shop Tees. Now, for this new deal that he's doing, you subscribe for, like, I think it's $23 a month, and every month you get a motorcycle T-shirt from an independent shop with a postcard with some pictures of the shop, information about where they're at, you know, etc. But for $23 a month, you know, and there's no, you never know what you're going to get or where it's going to come from. But really, really neat thing that Dan's doing, and I just wanted to give him a shout out because it's
that's cool. Support those local guys. I want to know how, you know, shops get involved with that. Probably get in touch with him, because there's probably a bunch of shops out there that would be stoked about that.
Absolutely, you know? And it's let's see if I can do a little bit more of my job here and actually tell you where to go, because I know he's on Instagram for MC Shop Tees.
Gosh, I could probably have my own subscription company for probably at least a year. You probably could too.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
I've got boxes and boxes. My wife's like, "What is this box?" I'm like, "Motorcycle T-shirts."
Of our old T-shirts. That's not quite the same thing. That's kind of gross.
Oh, come on now. You're telling me that somebody wouldn't pay good money for an old West Coast Choppers T-shirt that says "cash only" and "fuck you"?
But Eddie,
I got one of those.
Back to Dan's podcast. He just did a year-end review thing where he sits down with a group of guys, and it's pretty bitchin'. It's another great perspective, you know. And I'm trying to do more of this. Like I was just talking about Motorcycle Mayhem Radio, and Gina Woods is doing her open road radio now, and this cat has this cool podcast. I'm trying to make sure that people know about all of this that's going on, because having different perspectives to look at this whole thing that we do is a good thing. And you know, Dan's busting his ass, and like we've already covered, this is the second worst way to make money in the motorcycle industry.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of the guys from Texas, while we're at it, I want to give a little plug out to Boogie East. If you guys were in Daytona last year or read our report on it, you'll remember there was a little show that happened at the end of the week at Annie Oakley's, and it was one of the most chill times that went on in Daytona. You know, other than Willie's, which is absolutely the be-all, end-all, this was just great because it was just an old-time, like, chopper get-together. You know, some guys pulled in. It was, you know, specifically to 83 and earlier bikes. And, you know, somebody had a band. Somebody threw up, a couple T-shirt booths, and it was a really good time. So they're coming back again. It's going to be March 16th, Friday again, at the end of Bike Week. Definitely stop by and check them out. You can hit those guys up through, I'm sure, the Chemical Candy site. Yeah, tell them Cycle Source sent you. Look for you in Daytona. Boogie East 2 coming up.
Yeah, I wanted to check that out last year, but I don't know if you remember. I had a little bit of a busy schedule. Yeah, test riding 15 motorcycles or whatever it was.
Dude, I had a busy schedule just trying to keep up to your ass, because I'd get a phone call every 6 hours. It was like, "Hey man, I'm going to be coming by on a bike again. You get out on the road, get some pictures of me.
I got a new bike for you to shoot." He's like, "What the fuck? What are you doing?" Yeah.
Good stuff.
It was good. Yeah, it was good. We'll do it again this year, man. I'm gonna be busy with the test rides, and we're gonna get as much as we possibly can in terms of new product out to all the readers, listeners, etc. I'm gonna try to get as much content out, video wise and podcast wise and everything. So I think it's gonna be a good Daytona for sure. But you've got a lot before then. That is that seems like eons away, doesn't it?
It really does.
You've got a bunch of IMS shows to do before that.
Yeah, we still have, coming up here at the end of the month, we're going to be hitting the Cleveland IMS. We still got IMS in Dallas, IMS in Chicago, and then wrapping it up with the last one, the end of February in Washington, D.C., which is going to be awesome because if everything goes right, we'll actually run off stage with the War Pony running. But I got to say, real quick, because I got a package today. This is my stuff from Zippers, man, for my chain drive.
I can't see what it is. What is it?
I got my my chain drive conversion from Zippers today.
Nice.
So I got my sprockets and my chain, and after this radio show is over, or this broadcast
That's what you're doing.
I'm out of the office for at least 2 days, and I'm going to hardcore work on fabrication, realigning the rear wheel, getting the fender finished off, and I'm going to do my best to get that motorcycle prepped and ready for a crazy, crazy end of the show series for IMS.
Nice. That's going to be great. That's going to be fun stuff.
So one piece of motorcycle news, again, before we split, is this came across our desk this week about the Bonnier Motorcycle Group. Specifically, if you don't know, Bonnier are the people who are responsible for publishing Cycle World. Real quick, just
and hot bike, street chopper, and baggers.
Yeah, and they actually, I mean, they publish like a bazillion different titles.
Yeah,
but this is big news, and I wanted to talk about it for a minute because it says here, to respond to changes in our consumer and advertiser media needs, Cycle World is moving to a captivating quarterly coffee table sized journal focusing on the art of the motorcycle. Motorcyclist fresh off a newly redesigned package from early 2017 will continue to be, and they talk about some other changes for their other titles, but this is huge news that Cycle World is moving to what did they say, quarterly, 4 times a year,
quarterly,
basically a coffee table journal.
It's going to be like Router's Journal, I'm assuming, is what they're hoping it's going to turn out like.
But this completely changes the game. I mean, Cycle World, dude. Cycle World has been the monster forever, And
for sure.
You said it before we got on the air today. If any magazine should be published every 30 days or even more, it should be Cycle World because it literally is.
It's everything that is motorcycles, and it sounds like there's not going to be, like that's not what they're going to be anymore. It's going to be the art of the motorcycle. So they're not going to do reviews, and they're not going to have stuff on dirt bikes. Is it just going to be like literally? I don't know. It's just, it's a big question. I'd be interested to see, what's gonna shake out. I mean, those guys are very smart over there and very savvy. So I have no doubt that it'll be successful. But I'm really curious to see what that first issue looks like.
Yeah, me too. And like I said, this is for sure not to report on anything that might be bad news about hard times or anything like that, but I think Cycle World is a significant part of all of our cultures from both sides, the custom and the the competitive side of motorcycling, and this is something that's really going to change the face of it. So we'd love to hear from anybody there.
Yeah, well, I'm sure I could reach out to Mark Hoyer and find something out, maybe get him on and just hear what they're planning on doing. I think that'd be fun to talk to him for sure. So, because I mean that magazine, I mean, it just really speaks to all, like, whatever you're into motorcycling, they've probably got something about it in there, and I think that's really been their strong point, is that they've really kind of spoken to everyone. You can pick it up. I can pick it up. Somebody's into motocross can pick it up. Somebody's into, cafe racers can pick it up. And there's something in there for everybody. So it'll be interesting to see if they keep that same format and are really trying to speak to all motorcyclists, or if they're really going to kind of go the, Router's Journal, kind of artsy kind of deal. So, I mean, I heard it, anyway.
Yeah, man. It's strange.
And I know Bandit posted something. I couldn't read it, but he was saying something about Easy Riders that he posted up that I guess was like, kind of mainstream news, but I didn't. Did you read that at all?
No.
Oh, what's going on with these routers? Yeah, I couldn't either. So,
No, I
but
just honestly have been so busy. I shouldn't say it like that because seriously, so you guys know it off the air, I get most of my news comes from Bandit. He does our world report for the magazine every month, and he knows it first. He does.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I'd be interested to talk to him about that too, and just see where he's at with it. So,
absolutely.
What do you have anything else? Because otherwise, I'm going to plug the podcast.
Real quick, I just want to tell everybody we do finally have a Shop Talk Facebook page. We're going to be filling this thing up with a schedule as we start to formalize things for 2018. We want to give you guys a little more lead time to know what we're doing. Look for it on here. We'll post some events, when we're doing live remotes and stuff like that. You can literally just go to the Facebook deal and type in Shop Talk and check us out.
Yeah. And it's, I think that it's great to have kind of that other outlet, but people always just go to CycleSource because you will always get whatever you need there. But please go and like and share our little Shop Talk Facebook page. That'd be great. And then for anybody that might have friends or other people that want to, listen to this instead of watch it, there's a lot of visual content on this, but we do provide this as a podcast as well on 4e2w.com. If you go over there, if you go on iTunes, Forever Two Wheels, the number 4, and then ever, and then the number 2, and then wheels, it'll come up on iTunes, Stitcher, all sorts of places. So we appreciate everyone listening across the world. I know that, that podcast gets out there. I also do some one-on-one interviews. We're going to have that interview with Mondo up. Right,
yeah,
Chris?
baby.
I don't know if you get that approved. As soon as you send it over to me, I can get it slapped up there and we can get it up. And then I'm talking to Roger Goldhammer tomorrow, so that should hopefully be up next week. So we're just moving ahead, all head full. So appreciate everyone listening to 4E2W and listening to Shop Talk and supporting us.
Hey, man, and here's the thing, too. Like, we say this at least once a program, but, we're looking to make this a nice, comfortable way to sift through the happenings and news of what's going on today in the motorcycle industry and culture. So you got some ideas, some stuff you want to see, some shit that you want to talk about, throw it up on Facebook or send either one of us a private message and put us on to it, because there is nothing that's out of bounds here. This is not... Correct. Somebody's bullshit commercial show. This is just me and Ken talking shit. So
yep, for sure.
Let us hear what you got.
All right, man.
And I think that's it. Our 74 minutes this week. We were on time, Ken. On time. Know. I had the show ready to go today.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Nobody's more surprised about that shit than me. No, anyway, man. Listen, I want to tell everybody thank you. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for your support.
Yeah.
Thanks for your patience while we get this stuff together. Special thanks to Jay Allen for giving us his time today and sharing that incredible, incredible experience of getting into the 200-mile-an-hour club. And, thank you for inviting us into your computer or your cell phone for an hour. Until next week when we bring Shop Talk back for another session, I'm Chris.
And I'm Ken.
And
we're out.